Northside, Northside, Oilers. How about them Texans? What's up, YouTube? Your boy back once again with another sport topic. And today we'll talk some football. Houston Texans football. The Houston Texans beat the Northside Oilers, or should I say the Tennessee Titans, 22-19. Even though I'm in full tank mode, and I've been rooting for the Texans to lose games, and I'm okay with the Texans tanking and losing because I understand this season's a wash. Damn, I enjoyed every moment of that game. I enjoyed beating the Titans. And I'm not even a Titan hater. I'm gonna be honest with you, the team I can't stand the most in the division is the Indianapolis Colts. I can't stand that team. But it was so good. I don't know what it was. I enjoyed watching us go out there and defeat the Titans. Maybe because they were number one seed in the AFC. Maybe because they was 8-2. Maybe that's why. Maybe because they had the best record in the AFC. Maybe that's why I enjoy the Houston Texans defeating the Tennessee Titans, forcing 5 turnovers. I enjoy almost every bit of the game except for the offensive output of the Texans. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna get to. We're gonna break it down. But before I do that, I gotta send a special shout out to my son Aiden and his football team, the Burnham Cubs sophomore youth football team, making it all the way to the championship game in the sophomore division. They started off this season not ranked, made the playoffs as the third ranked team in the playoffs, the third seed in the playoffs, and made it all the way to the championship game. And they lost to the the humble Seahawks in a hard fought game, 13-6. But big shout out to the whole sophomore team. Sophomore Burnham Cub youth football team. My son Aiden played well. Even though they couldn't get it done, they couldn't bring home the championship, but they made it all the way to the championship game after coming out of nowhere. Like they said, they started the season not ranked, and they made it all the way into the playoffs as the third ranked team, and they made it to the championship game and lost to the number one team, the team that was number one the whole season all year long. With they finished off with an 8-3 record. They finished the season out with an 8-3 record altogether. And just big ups to them. My son, defensive end, had a couple of tackles, forced fumble in the game, but just a hard fought game. Made all the way to the championship game. So I couldn't still do this video while I send a shout out to my son Aiden and the whole Burnham Cub youth football sophomore team. So shout out to them. Now let's talk about the Houston Texans, because the Houston Texans defeat those damn Tennessee Titans, 22-13. Tyrod Taylor was 14 of 24 for 58.3 completion percentage, had 107 yards, averaging 4.5 yards per attempt. No touchdowns, no interceptions, wasn't even sacked, but had a quarterback rating of 69.3. Rex Burkhead was the leading rusher with 18 rushes for 40 yards. Tyrod Taylor ran the ball 6 times for 28 yards and 2 touchdowns. David Johnson rushed the ball 13 times for 18 yards. Come on, man. 13 times for 18 yards, averaging 1.4 yards a carry. Phil Lindsay had 1 carry for -3 yards. I mean, I just said that Tyrod Taylor only had 107 yards rushing. 107 yards passing. Do I need to say who he threw it to? I guess I need to go ahead. Chris Conley was targeted 5 times, had 4 catches for 37 yards. Brandon Cook was targeted 3 times for 2 catches for 18 yards. David Johnson was targeted 4 times for 3 catches for 16 yards. Corey Moore was targeted 1 time. Well, Chris Moore, I'm sorry, was targeted 1 time for 1 catch for 10 yards. Farrell Brown targeted 4 times, 2 catches for 10 yards. Nico was targeted twice for 1 catch for 9 yards. I really got to talk about the defense, to be honest. Terrence Mitchell, I normally don't do defense sets, but this game I'm gonna do defense sets. Terrence Mitchell had 8 tackles altogether, had an interception. Gruger Hill had 12 tackles, 2 pass deflections and an interception. Zach Cunningham had 11 tackles. For 11 tackles, 1 pass deflection, a forced fumble. I got to talk about that in a minute. Jacob Martin only had 1 tackle, 1 sack, and a forced fumble. And my personal player of the game was Desmond King. 8 tackles, 2 interceptions. Both of them come in good spots. was key spots in the game, but the second was really one that is the one that really iced the game. So big ups to Desmond King. It was his first pick. I think they said in 3 years, and he had 2. Yeah, I know I was a big Desmond King fan. I wanted the Texans to bring in Desmond King last year. When the Titans traded for him, I'm like, that was one of my free agent targets, and we decided to bring him in. Even with all the mess that we did, I think that's one of the moves that they did get right this offseason. I just think he's in a bad situation with as far as the secondary and the coaching, and not really the coaching, but as far as the team as a whole. I think if we were a better team, you would see a better output out of Desmond King and his defense. I'm gonna talk about that and break that down in a minute as well. Let's talk about the Titans. Ryan Tannehill was 35 of 52 for 67.3 completion percentage, had 323 yards, averaging 6.2 yards per attempt, 1 touchdown, 4 picks, was sacked twice for a quarterback rating of 58.4. Adrian Peterson had 9 rushes for 40 yards. Dante Hilliard was in the Texans camp this past offseason, had 7 carries for 35 yards. Deontay Former Houston Texan, carried the ball 7 times for 25 yards. Westbrook Akina was targeted 8 times, had 7 catches for 107 yards. A.J. Brown had 9 targets for 5 catches for 48 yards. Hilliard had 10 targets for 8 catches for 47 yards. Rodgers was targeted 6 times for 4 catches for 41 yards. Desmond Fitzpatrick was targeted 6 times, 3 catches for 35 yards and a touchdown. Ferguson was targeted 7 times, had 5 catches for 26 yards and recovered the fumble in the end zone for a touchdown. The story of this game is the turnovers. Like I said, Ryan Tannehill threw 4 picks. They also got a muff punt. That also got the Texans muff punt. The Texans got that's how the Texans were able to cash in. And there was some turnovers that we didn't get. We strip sacked Ryan Tannehill. When able to recover the football. The Ferguson touchdown was a forced fumble by Zach Cunningham. He forced the fumble roll into the end zone. Anthony Ferguson recovered it for a touchdown. Also, Adrian Peterson, the ball slipped out of Adrian Peterson's hands as well. The Texans got 5 turnovers, and they really should, at the very least, got 7, possibly 8 in this game. I'm not exactly certain on what the record is how many turnovers is. I mean, turnovers for the Texans. I mean, as a franchise record, but this is back-to-back games that the Texans have forced 5 turnovers. And people are like, well, the defense is playing well and things like that. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. This is just another indictment on the offense. The defense as a whole, I know it hasn't looked that way, but the defense as a whole has been playing well enough to win. And it reminds me of last year with all the close games that we won with Deshaun Watson playing the way he was playing, and something would happen late in the game, a forced fumble here, there, the offense or the defense rather will let a win slip by. And especially if you go back and look at Deshaun Watson's biggest performances and best performances, they all come in losses, and all the losses have the same type of feel. The game against the Saints on Monday night, the game against the Eagles in the season, the game against Seattle his rookie year, the game against the Patriots his rookie year. All those things kind of have the same. The defense, Deshaun played great, the offense played well, and the defense led up at the end. I don't really think that would have been the case with this defense. I think this defense as a whole has been playing well enough to win. They've been having bad performances because this offense has been so inept. And unless it's a game like today and like last week where they're forcing 5 turnovers, not last week, but before the bye week, forcing 5 turnovers. Think about this. In the last 2 games, the Texans have forced 10 turnovers in the last 2 games, 5 apiece. But the flip side of that, points off of turnovers, yesterday they got 10. They got field goal, and then they got the last touchdown, the second touchdown of Tyrod Taylor. That's 10. Last week, they only had 3. Not last week, against the Dolphins before the bye week, they only had 6, 2 field goals. 10 turnovers in 2 weeks, a total of 16 points. That's only 1.5 points per turnover. In a sport where the lowest point totals you can get per offense is 3 with a field goal. You either get 3 or you get 6, but possibly get 8 because if you go for a 2-point conversion off a touchdown. So for you to only average 1 point, 1.5 points per turnover means you're getting multiple turnovers, and your offense can only get field goals, if that. That's a problem. That's the problem with the team, is that this offense is so inept. Tyrod Taylor had 100 yards passing. Y'all do know in the second quarter, midway through the second quarter, he already had 80 yards passing. That means he got less than 20 yards the second half of the game. Passing. Y'all see a problem with this? And it'd be different, okay, it'd be different if that was the case and we was running the football and had 200 yards rushing, some type of shit like that. Rex Burkhead was your leading rusher with 40 yards. Rex Burkhead had 40 yards rushing. Tyrod Taylor was the second leading rusher with 28. David Johnson had 18 yards rushing off of 14 carries. Come on, bro. Was it 18? Let me see. It might have been 16. I might have messed up and said 18. It might have been 16. Just to be on the safe side, I'm gonna double check myself. Yeah, he had 16. No, that's right, 18. 18 yards rushing off of 13 carries. That's what you did offensively. Your offense was completely inept, completely and 100% inept offense. Just not a good offensive performance. Your defense played the way to win the game against the number one ranked team, well, the number one seed team in the AFC, and the Titans, which is still the number one seed because they only had 2 losses coming into today's game. It's a divisional game, divisional opponent. It brings our complete record versus the Tennessee Titans at 21-18. The Titans are up, have 21 wins. The Texans have 18 wins. That's, I think, our 9th win inside. That's our 8th win inside Nashville. We're 10-9 in Nashville. Well, 9-10. But we have 9 wins and have 10 losses in Nashville. And like I said, it brings our complete total, our record to them, as we're down. Well, we have 18 wins. They have 21 wins, and hopefully we can get a win later on the rest of the season to help bring that back up. But this is the thing. The offense, like I said, is a complete inept, and there's plenty of blame to go around. You can blame personnel, which I definitely blame. I mean, you don't have a quarterback. You're out there with Tyrod Taylor. Davis Mills wouldn't do no better. You don't have no receivers outside of Brandon Cooks, and Brandon Cooks has showed you, without Deshaun Watson, without a Drew Brees when he was in New Orleans, without Tom Brady when he was in New England, and without a Sean McVay-led offense in with the Rams, he can't do it. His hands is tied. He's not that dude receiver. He's not a Hopkins who you don't matter who's throwing him the football. He's not a Dre. He's not one of those upper echelon receivers that it doesn't matter who's the quarterback. He makes that quarterback better. And that's not an indictment on Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks is what it is. He needs a better quarterback to help give him the ball. I understand that. There's no problem with that. Nico, I would like them to utilize Nico a little bit more. Brevin Jordan got into the mix. I would like them to utilize Brevin Jordan a little bit more. You see the Akers was not even activated in today's game. Obviously, they're getting ready to get him out, and the whole Jeff Driscoll being moved to tight end, that's ridiculous. But that's a conversation for another day. I'm going to talk a video about this whole culture thing, too, and why I think this is really headed and where this really transitions. Y'all stay tuned to that video coming up. But this offense is net on the personnel side, and don't get me started about the coaching. We already know what it is with David Culley. He's a figurehead. He's just here to talk in front of the camera. He's here to take on the Deshaun Watson questions and this type of questions. He's here to take the blunt that way that you don't have to ask Nick Casario, that way you don't have to ask Jackie to be, that way you don't have to ask Cal. They're going to refer to the head coach so he can take the blame. He's being basically paid to be the punching bag of the fans and the media. That's what he's getting paid to do. He's not getting paid to be the head coach. He's getting paid for that. Tim Kelly, I don't understand why this whole charade they're doing with Tim Kelly. Because obviously, clearly, Tim Kelly's job only here is because Deshaun Watson actually liked Tim Kelly. And that was the one little bone they were throwing in Deshaun Watson's favor. Once they knew that they wasn't going to play Deshaun Watson, they should have found a way to get rid of Tim Kelly. They should just let Tim Kelly walk. Tim Kelly has no business being calling plays. And like I said, I've been one of the main ones, wanting a quarterback in this draft since you're going to get rid of Deshaun. I don't want a quarterback nowhere near this offensive coaching staff. Not near Kelly. Definitely not near David Culley. And not even near Pep Hamilton. Even though I actually thought Pep Hamilton did some good things last year with the Chargers. But I just think everything's just been poisoned, to be honest with you. On the defensive side, like I said, the defense really has been playing well enough to win in a lot of these games. And I think if Deshaun Watson was a starting quarterback, even with this roster currently constructed, I think you have a better record than 2-8. Not saying you're the number one team in the AFC or anything like that. I think you have a better record. And you possibly could be challenging the Titans later on for the divisional title. At the very least, going for a wild card spot for one. The AFC and the NFL in general, but it's definitely the AFC, is not a good conference. It's a shit show. No one's playing well. I think Deshaun could get him feasted. 2, this defense could hold up a lead if the offense gives them any type of bones throwing. And in 3, if Deshaun is getting the ball 5 extra possessions, come on. If Matt Schaub is getting the ball for 5 extra possessions, dare I say, Brock Osweiler, if he's getting the ball an extra 5 possessions, I think we score more points. I really do. Now back to what I was saying about Zach Cunningham. Zach Cunningham forces a fumble on the 1-yard line, 2-yard line, whatever. He too busy flexing for the camera, stuff for the hoes. Out there flexing, the ball sitting right there, allowing Ferguson to get to it. When Ferguson jumped on that fumble and recovered, I'm like, oh, here we go. The Titans about to win this game because the Texans about to go 3-0. The Titans going to drive down, kick the game-winning field goal. That's what I thought. That's exactly what I thought. Because, or scored the game-winning touchdown at that. It might have been his game-winning touchdown at that point. I can't remember what the score was. But when he recovered that fumble, yeah, because I think it was just a one-possession game. Well, it's just a one-possession game because I think it would have been 19-13. So yeah, they had to score a touchdown. I thought they were gonna score a touchdown and obviously get the extra point, and they were gonna win the game because and that the offense is, and I was mad when they just let. I mean, because Desmond King and Justin Reed, they were there, but they weren't there fast enough to get there before Ferguson because Zach Cunningham was closer to the ball. But Zach Cunningham too busy flexing, not even paying attention. That he forced the fumble. He too busy flexing, looking at the camera. Like I say, stunning on them hoes. Ferguson runs in, awareness, dives on the ball, scores a touchdown. I'm like, damn. And then obviously right on cue, Texans go 3-0. And then the defense stepped up and played again. And then because Tannehill shoot through a pick to Eric Murray. And went through Eric Murray's hands, and then went through Terrence Mitchell's hands, and I'm like, damn, I'm sitting there mad at this point, like that was a slipped opportunity. And the next play, Desmond King gets a pick. I was hoping he'd get pick 6 because I want him to have the position or a chance to win Defensive Player of the Week. Maybe, hopefully, he can. But I know Jones from the Chiefs had 3.5 sacks. And I think one of them was a forced fumble, so he more than likely will get Defensive Player of the Week. But we'll see. Hopefully, throw a Texans the ball. The Texans ain't played well all year. Only this is the second opportunity the Texans have had because you can only win Player of the Week if you win. It's the second opportunity all year that the Texans could have a Player of the Week person only because they only won 2 games. So hopefully, Desmond King says he had 2 picks. Like I said, if he would have that pick 6, that probably would have guaranteed him one. Definitely put him in a better position. But hopefully he can win the Defensive Player of the Week. I like both picks he had. Even though the first pick, he landed on the 1-yard line. They put the Texans in a bad position. And all it did was basically just flip field position slightly and basically just run time off the board. And I think he only ran a minute off because once again, the offense is inept. They're not able to move the football. They're not able to run out the clock. And this team just needs so many things. Like, they can go in so many different directions when it comes to the draft. And they definitely going to need to get a lot of draft capital when it comes to when they move to Deshaun Watson because they need all type of stuff. Quarterback, running back, offensive line help, receiving weapon help. the defensive backs in the secondary, linebackers. Right? This team definitely needs everything that they can draft out. They can draft anything. They only they don't need is a long snapper. John Weeks is straight. Other than that, they need everything. They need every single thing. And all still, they were able to beat the number one seed in the AFC, the Tennessee Titans. Which is just funny to me, just astounding me. But I mean, that's sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles, especially when we talk about divisional games. Divisional games are always wacky and stuff like that. But back to that Ferguson touchdown, isn't that the most Texan Titan touchdown? Like seriously, isn't that the most Texan Titan touchdown? How Anthony Ferguson scored that touchdown? Isn't that the most Texan Titan touchdown ever? I believe it is. That just screams Houston Texans, Tennessee Titans. But all in all, like I said, for a season that I've been wanting the Texans to tank, and like, man, we better off tanking. That was not a good win because it wasn't good, it wasn't pretty. I enjoyed beating the Titans. And it's funny because I'm not even a Titan hater per se. It's not like, oh, I can't stand the Titans. No, I don't like anybody in the division. Don't like the Titans, don't like the Colts, don't like the Jags. I root for them to lose all the time. I can't stand for divisional opponents to win. It's not the team I hate the most in the division. The team I hate the most in the division is the Colts. But it was damn good to beat them Titans. It really was. I ain't gonna lie. It really was. Hey, that's what it was. Like, subscribe if you haven't, comment below if you haven't, click that bell, get more videos. Holla.